We are so close. The 100th NFL season starts, and it starts the right way with Packers, Bears. They opened up last season in Lambeau. No one can forget that game. Aaron Rodgers, the heroism to come back from the injury, lead the charge back, beat the Bears. But since then, the narratives have flipped. The Bears became a darling of the NFL. They have a higher win total going into this season, and they are the decided favorite at home Week 1 against the Packers.
Yeah, and they were even more decided of a favorite when these markets opened earlier this year, with the Bears opening at 4.5 point favorite. That number has been beaten down to -3 now in favor of the Bears, basically saying that the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers are a similar team on a neutral field. Total at 46 has basically been there the entire time.
As we normally do, we're going to take a side of each of the spread, and we're going to argue for that side. Now, I will mention that if you want all the numbers, you can head to pff.com/Greenline, get an elite subscription. You can see all of the math. We try to uncover as much information as possible on Greenline so you can be the decider of your own fate, but we love to argue. So you are going to argue for the Packers. Why do the Packers cover?
I mean, anytime you can get a decidedly better quarterback getting points, even on the road, I think that's a good bet. Aaron Rodgers last season, the question being, was he sort of the recipient of the dysfunction with Mike McCarthy, or was he the catalyst? If you believe the former, then we're in for a good year for the former MVP. I also think the Packers have done a decent amount in terms of upping their defense. Adrian Amos in that secondary, they got 3 edge players either in the draft or via free agency. And so, I think they're stronger than people realize in terms of defense. They're probably going to revert a little bit more towards an average group, which would be an improvement from last season, both from coaching as well as their play. And then I think the Bears sort of regress defensively. They get fewer turnovers. And then, of course, Mr. Trubisky is not exactly as good of a quarterback as Bears fans think.
I thought you were going to say not as good as Aaron Rodgers. Like, wow. Yeah. Really stepping out on a limb there. The new coach-quarterback duo, everyone sort of assumes is going to be a quantum leap for the team. And I would pump the brakes just a little bit on the LaFleur-Rodgers combination here. We don't know a lot about LaFleur. He had Marcus Mariota as a quarterback in Tennessee, and they just ran the ball a lot, which you would assume they don't do, but even if they do more, that's the less efficient play for the Packers. Yeah. So that takes away one of the Packers' biggest assets. And the second thing is that scheme that LaFleur has been a part of with Shanahan, with Sean McVay, relies heavily on play action, which is something that Rodgers just doesn't do. So a guy that set the record for most sacks and throwaways combined last season, that's Aaron Rodgers since 2006. That might not just be, and all of a sudden we get right back on the wagon and we're back to MVP type play. On the other side, Matt Nagy, despite what you think about Mitch Trubisky, Matt Nagy, one of the best play callers in the NFL, a la his mentor Andy Reid. Andy Reid, best at scripting first 15 plays in the game. Matt Nagy was 5th last season. Yeah. Even Mitch Trubisky, who you can hate on for a lot of reasons, was a above average quarterback on those first 15 plays. So the Bears offense, I think, takes less of a huge unknown hit right to start off the season. And of course that defense, they lose some players, but they still have enough pieces around them at home, 100th season. Bears squeak it out by 4 or 5.
Yeah, that gets us to sort of what has the most value here, and I think it's the total. I think if you look at the total in terms of looking at the under, the uncertainty with Green Bay's offense, I think weaknesses of the Bears' offense when they might not necessarily have the turnover luck that they got a season ago with those short fields, I think you have to take a long look at that under with the improved Green Bay defense and sort of uncertainty on the offense on both ends.
It pains me because the year is 2019. Taking unders is not fun, but there are some interesting, both teams, you look at the quarterback first, look at Aaron Rodgers, what a great player he is. Devontae Adams, what a great player Devontae Adams is. The Bears have done one thing, it is cover on the outside. Fuller and Amukamara, second best pass rating allowed by outside quarterbacks, and Adams actually doesn't move into the slot that often, despite Rodgers being traditionally very good at targeting the slot, with Randall Cobb in the past, no longer a weapon for them there. Jordy Nelson, no longer there. So the Bears defense does set up well, and this Bears defense, if they follow what they did last year, they don't care about your run game. Fewest number of plays with 8+ men in the box the Bears had last season. So the Bears seem fit to keep this game low scoring. It really comes down to turnovers. We know Aaron Rodgers doesn't like to turn the ball over. Does Mitch Trubisky put it up? Does he risk it all in this game? If they're playing from ahead, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think the breaking point here is one small thing, which is, what Bears fans have magnified the entire offseason, the kicking game. There are going to be, possibly missed kicks here. There are going to be 3 points that are going to be, if you're betting the over, sorely needed. And I think the Bears there are still going to struggle. And, Mason Crosby in his career, we saw him in Detroit last year, is sometimes shaky. So, just like we saw last year with the opening Thursday night game, probably a little bit more lower scoring than people think.
Well, Carly Lloyd, free agent. You never know. Bears could make it happen, in which case we'll have to re-record this, so pump the brakes. For more, head to pff.com/Greenline, get a PFF Elite subscription. We'll be back with you each week leading up to, thankfully, finally, real football.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little Greenline for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.